Welcome back everyone to another Coach Blaker's video. Today we're going to be talking about why Udyr sucks. I mean, he sucked before rework, but you know, he still sucks after rework. And why is his win rate 40%? All that and more coming up. If you guys didn't know who I am, my name is Coach Blaker. I've been coaching professionally for going on 10 years. I've climbed every single role to diamond. I'm doing it again this season. If you guys want to check that out, twitch.tv/Coach Blaker. I don't consider myself an Udyr one trick. I used to one trick him the first time that I got to diamond with jungle, but I don't one trick him anymore. Why do I say that? Because like I just said, I climbed every single role. I don't consider myself a one trick anymore. I play everything, and I do that to better help students. It'd be weird if I'm just a jungle player that plays Udyr trying to coach or support, right? So that's why I don't consider myself a one trick. But in essence, deep down, if I could play anything else, it'd be Udyr. Whenever I'm field jungle, I'll play Udyr. Udyr is fun, all right? I like Udyr. He's one of my favorite champions, and I have well over 10,000 games on this champion. Hey, he's my boy. Man, it is dark up in here. I mean, technically it's not because it's bright, but there's no gameplay or nothing on the screen. Hey, look, I just forgot to put this into the dang video. I'm sorry. I was so interested in talking about Udyr. Let me stop wasting your time. If you guys are interested in coaching, CoachBlaker.com is where you want to go. Why do I say that? Because it sucks playing game after game after game, being 400 games, 500 games, 600 games, 700 games. I've seen 2,000 games in the same spot not climbing. Why do that to yourself? Get a coach, improve, easy clap. CoachBlaker.com is where you want to go. You're better than that. Stop wasting your life. I'm just kidding. Waste your life on League of Legends. That's what we all do because it's addicting. CoachBlaker.com if you want to improve. That's all I'm going to say. Back to the video. So why does he suck? Reworks are supposed to bring champions to their modern selves, right? Before reworks, they're usually old. They might have a lot of issues. But after the rework, usually Riot tries to fix some of the issues that they may be having without changing the character too much, right? Because if they change Udyr to a point where he doesn't feel like Udyr anymore, it wouldn't be, it would really make us angry, right? Think about champions that you guys like, that if you guys felt got reworked, you'd be like, why, right? I had this conversation with a Vi student that I have, and I asked him, well, her, and I was like, what would you be mad if they reworked Vi? And she was like, yes. Right? Because, you know, some champions are very, very hard to rework. Some champions are very, very hard to make modernized. And a lot of champions really love their old champion. Now, it's safe to say Udyr before rework was horrible. So, why is he either the same or worse after rework? I'm going to explain all that to you right now. All right, so the flow of this video is going to go, we're going to talk about his abilities, then we're going to talk about his gameplay, and then we're going to have my final thoughts. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but we might, you know, be longer than I would expect. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about his abilities. So I actually like every single ability that they've done. They updated it. Everything's great. I don't think anything's wrong with his abilities or his awakening form. The issue here is, and this is what I think is causing a lot of stir with some Udyr players, not all of them, like myself. It's not too bad, but it could be better. And some other people think he's just unplayable, which I don't really agree with. But we'll talk about, you know, those type of things in a bit here. So the thing that we want to kind of refer to is his passive. He used to have something called monkey agility. Basically, once you skill 3 times, you're going to have max stacks of monkey agility. What is monkey agility? Monkey agility basically means that you have bonus movement speed and bonus attack speed. And as long as you keep that up, you would continue to have that speed. So you would see a lot of Udyrs just kind of doing this and walking around casting. When you had about 20 ability haste, you can spam the same ability over and over, so you don't have to worry about stance dancing throughout the whole entirety of walking or throughout the entirety of fighting. Back in the day, which was a couple days ago, you could just do this here and you'd be able to just kind of spam the same ability after you hit 4 times, maybe then you would just press it again. I'm out of mana. After you hit 4 times, you'd press it again, and then he could do it again, right? And you don't have to stance dance through the other ones. You can keep your maximum damage. Tiger was the same exact way. You would Q, you would let him auto attack, you would go ahead and Q again, and you would just repeat the system without having to like go to Turtle or Bear or Phoenix. Like you could just press that one button over and over once you had about 20 ability haste. And that is a power spike in its own for Udyr, right? Not only the fact that you're getting your items, but you also can spam the same ability over and over again, which means you're maximizing your damage. This new passive is called Monk Training. After using an ability, Udyr's next 2 basic attacks within 4 seconds gain 30% attack speed and refund 5% of Awakening's cooldown. It kind of sounds the same, doesn't it? But the issue here is, after you use 2 attacks of that said ability, 1, 2, you don't do anything anymore. It's gone. So now you're stuck in this stance doing no damage with having no attacks. There's no incentive to stay. They're basically incentivizing you to swap stance over and over again. And I'm not saying I don't like that gameplay aspect, because I do. You know, I think his initial design, even back in the old days when watching his champion Spotlight and seeing what they wrote about him and whatnot, his initial design was to be that type of champion where you got to kind of stay in a state of flow. You got to keep doing your momentum. You got to keep doing your things, right? I do like that. And they did hit the nail on the head. As you can see, you can't spam your abilities like that anymore. But what you would do is you would fight like this. So instead of like the traditional R, 1, 2, 3, 4, you would then R again. I didn't hit 4 times, I'm just talking. And then you would R again. You don't do that anymore. Now the way that you have to play him is sort of like this. So you would Phoenix, 1, 2, Turtle, 1, 2, Tiger, 1, 2, and then back to Phoenix again. And that's initially how you would play Udyr. And that's how you'd play him throughout clearing. That's how you play him with the fighting. Obviously, tossing a board when you need to. Do your thing, chicken wang. But because we do this way, we get the Phoenix, and then we go to Turtle before Tiger. Because we want the attack speed to be on the actual Phoenix, not the Turtle. So we wouldn't go Tiger into Turtle to get the attack speed on Turtle. Who cares? Right? But the attack speed on Phoenix is huge, because it does allow you to get more damage off with your auto attacks because of the 2-hit effect, right? But I'm not like giving you a guide or anything about that. That was just me explaining how you would play him now compared to how he was played before. He's not as brainless anymore. You do have to think about what abilities you're using him and why. Now, with that 2-hit combo, it's all fine and dandy. But Udyr has 2 offensive stances and 2 utility stances. His offensive stances is his Q and his R. His utility is his W and his E. Now, why is this an issue? Because if you're going straight Tiger, you're probably not going to put points in Phoenix, right? We never used to. So you're going to be stuck with 2 offensive stances. Okay, I'm done. Now I got to swap to this and then swap to that. And then I got to swap back to Tiger. So if you think about that, if we just say that was 3 seconds, it was way more than that. But if you say it's 3 seconds, I'm spending 2 seconds in a stance that doesn't do anything. So how would you play the fight then? You would kind of do something like this. You would get it with the Tiger, maybe awakening them, and then you would kind of turtle and you would kind of walk with them. And then you would stun them again, and then like you have to play at a much slower pace because of how his 2-hit system works. I think they should make it 3 to 4 hits. I think 4 hits. The reason why I say 4 hits is because if you have a specific amount of attack speed, you get locked out of your abilities. So not only are you like forced to be locked out of it anyway because you can't recast the same ability, you actually just get locked out, period. Like right now, look at it. So right now, it actually is pretty smooth, right? You go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we can pop back into Phoenix and there's no problem. You know, we're still steadily putting 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, even though we are switching stances. Now, that's encouraging us to not build attack speed. But what happens when you build attack speed, especially on something like Tiger? Because you usually do build attack speed, right? What does it do? Well, let's go ahead and let me get some attack speed items here for you guys. So we're going to get this, that. I'm actually not going to get Gwinsu's because I don't want... Which one is faster? I don't want like the bonus hit, right? So that's why I'm not going to do Gwinsu's there. But here's what it would look like with actual attack speed. So 1.8, that's not really that high. We used to do that all the time. But here's what happens. So we have the flow of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Now here's what happens when we have the attack speed. And this is why I think lethal tempo is not good on Udyr anymore in his Phoenix stance, or in any stance. If you're going to go Phoenix, you're going to go Phase Rush or Conquer. If you're going to go Tiger, you're going to go press the attack or Phase Rush. Like anything else, it's not really that great. So look, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm locked out. You see, I have to wait, and I have to hit another time before I can actually swap to anything. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm locked out of Phoenix. 1, 2, 1, 2. And the more your attack speed goes up, the more you're locked out. Right? And I don't even think this rune page, I don't think has attack speed. Oh, it does. Oh, but you know, it's not late into the game. It's only 9 minutes in. So this attack speed's like unreal, right? But later into the game, your attack speed should be pretty high anyway. And you basically are, like, if you build any attack speed, you're just kind of stuck. Right? I can't Phoenix. 1, 2. I can't Turtle. 1, 2. I can't Tiger. 1, 2. Like, you're stuck. And the higher you go out, the more you're like, so what do they want us to do? Is just like use RAM more often? So we're just cycling through all of them? Like this? That's dumb. Why would you want to do that? So the idea of stance swapping is cool, but also a lot of players like to just constantly hit somebody over and over. And so the fact that I can't stick to you and continue to just smack you left and right, like, it kind of sucks. I want to see more hits, so that way when I do swap, I can do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then we're back into Tiger. I mean, we're back into Phoenix. Because I'm only level 4, you know, my cooldown is not that high. But if we like just kind of cap me out real quick. This is like an extreme example, but we're gonna cap me out real quick. All right. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and we could be back into Phoenix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you see, I can't swap. But essentially, what I want is I want 4 auto attacks. I don't have to reset Phoenix. I think that'd be actually kind of broken if you can reset the ability. But I do want it so that if I swap, I only have to hit twice, and I can go back to blasting some booty. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to booty blast people right, and you're not letting me. So if I want to do this, boom, 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 Tiger, because I can be offensive. I don't need HP. And then I can go back to Phoenix. I like that. Okay, I need HP or I need shielding. I go Turtle. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Swap. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can go back to Phoenix. 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of this 1, 2, 1, 2, I'm locked out. 1, 2, I'm locked out. 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm just hitting more often than I need to, even though there's no reason to stay in that stance. So that's what I would like to see with the passive. That, or allow the buff to be longer. So allow the AoE to be longer. I feel like that'd be, again, broken, but you know, that's y'all fault for creating this. Or have your Tiger be longer, or have your board be longer. Like the passives of these things just be longer. That could work too, potentially. Another issue here is that, like I said, the way that you'd play Udyr is not the same in terms of being capped out of your like being locked out of your skills. So you have to play the fight slower. You have to do things like this. So instead of like the random bam, 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 and then I sit on this guy and I could just kill you, it's more like this. Bam, bam, bam. And if you are the carry, back in the day with the old Udyr, you could just sit on people and you would just hit them until they die and then move on to the next. And if you had a decent team, you then stun everybody. And if this is a high elo thing, usually low elo your team is kind of wacky. So you might not be able to stun for the entire team, and you probably lose the game anyway. But now it feels like I have to kind of like fight. I have to stun. I have to play a lot slower. Okay, I'm done. Let me go ahead and toss this out. Okay, let me play the outskirts of the fight. All right, I'm going back in with the turtle. Okay, I'm going back in with the ram. Let me stun you guys. All right, I don't have awakening, but I'm going to sit out here anyway and try to slow them without being too close, kind of just playing back and forth, back and forth. It's a lot more methodical, and it's a lot harder to actually play properly, especially in some of these broken champions that you cannot actually touch for that long. So you have to... he's not as brainless anymore. And again, I don't mind that. I like that direction, but like I said before, if someone is out of position and I have the ability to just straight up blast them, don't make me sit in two stances that don't matter because I'm locked out of the other two. That's all I'm trying to say. Because I'm sitting there just hitting them and they're taking no damage until I can get this thing back. So they are forcing you to play the fight a little bit slower. And meaning that they have a lot more chance to counterplay. And again, that's not really that bad, having an ability to counterplay something like Udyr, because back in the day, if he was fed, you couldn't get him off of you. This is better, but still, I think it's just making you stand swap a little bit too much when you don't have to. The other thing that I want to talk about, and the last thing here, is that the gameplay of which he clears. So let's go ahead and reset ourselves back to square one here. All right, anyway. So we're going to just smite twice to simulate a leash. Let's just, I'll give it one more. I'll give it one more juicy. Bam. All right, that's it. That's our leash. So here we go. That's a good one, too. That's a good one. So we got a fat leash here. Like, we just got a monstrous leash. Right? And I'll go ahead and even smite this. I don't usually smite the Krug, especially with old Udyr, but we're going to do it now just because I know that's how a lot of you guys actually play the game, period. So we're just going to go ahead and clear our things. And I'm going to try to be as fast and efficient as possible. I'm actually not going to take turtle. I do think that taking turtle is kind of important if you're a newer player to Udyr, or you're just not that great at clearing. For those old heads that are actually really good at clearing no matter what champ you play, I definitely think it's crucial that you do that. And now I didn't mess up there. I actually awakened without auto attacking twice. So before you auto attack twice, you want to make sure that you awaken the you want to auto attack twice and then awaken and then auto attack twice. Okay, and I didn't go into Tiger. I usually always start Tiger first and then go into the ability so that I can just kind of auto attack a little bit more. So 1, 2, and then you would awaken. That's just a prime example. Because I initially forgot what I was talking about when I was clearing the camps, I do want to say also that the clear for like clearing waves is a lot slower too. Udyr used to be able to just come in the lane, press 1R, blast the wave, we out. Now it's like you have to hit for a few seconds, and even then you don't kill it in one rotation of your R. You have to then R again. It's a lot slower than it used to be. So I that's another gripe that I kind of have, is that shoving waves are just incredibly, it's hard to do. Even later into the game, sometimes it's just really hard to clear waves as fast as it used to. So that's another thing. And now, honestly, that was a really, really solid leash. And with a really solid leash, I'd be about this HP, maybe a little bit lower, and I would end about 320, 380, something. It'd be after the crab spawns, for sure. If you go ahead and get an okay leash, it's going to be longer. If your leash is horrible, it's going to be longer, right? A great leash, I could probably be there about 315, 316. I'll be around to fight. If the leash is okay, I'm going to be late. If the leash is horrible, I'm just going to recall and get the bottom one, or like run to the bottom one. That was never something Udyr had a problem with. Udyr was really fast at clearing. Because of the lack of monkey agility, you're a lot slower when you're walking, and you're a lot slower when you're auto-attacking. Now, I do think that he gets to about as fast as he used to be. Not quite, but he gets kind of close. But that comes later. And so it's weird how they're gearing a champion that was always an early game scrap bot to scale later into the game. So before, how it would work is it would be something kind of like this. You would get your power spike, and you are here, and you could just play, and eventually, if the game takes too long, because you made it take too long, you go down, and you're kind of just like a team player at that point. You're kind of just like a stun bot. Now it's kind of like this. I get my spikes, I'm almost there. All right, about 20-something minutes into the game, I got my spike, I play for about 10 minutes, and then I go down. Unless you're turbo fed, you're basically saying, I have to wait for my champ to scale, and then on top of that, I'm going to be useless anyway. Doesn't make much sense, right? Now we're talking about Tiger. Tiger is really, really strong. But again, Tiger has the same issues that he had before. Except worse, because you have to cast. So you have to go into Tiger, swap, go back into Tiger, swap, go back into Tiger. The old Udyr, at least when I caught you, I could just bam, 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 and you'd probably die. Now, you have a lot more window to run away from me, and on top of that, I'm not as fast as I used to be anyway, so now everything is just basically faster than Udyr is, right? But his damage is there. His Tiger damage is there. I don't have an issue with that. That's their early game, that's their mid game, that's super their late game. It's really, really good. But in terms of clearing with Tiger, you still need Tiamat. So to keep up with some of these junglers, you still need Tiamat. And then when it comes to Phoenix, it's offline for a while until you get there. So, again, your gameplay is a lot slower when you're fighting. Your gameplay is a lot slower when you're scaling. And that's the issue here. unless you're turbo fed, Udyr is just not good. The way that it used to be is if you're turbo fed, you're broken. If you're even, you're a stun bot, you're okay though. You know, you're not too crazy, but you know, you're not useless. And if you're behind, good luck playing the game. Now it's kind of like if you're even or behind, you just good luck playing. And if you're fed, you're not even at that point where you can solo carry. It's still kind of at that point of like, unless I build AP, I don't do damage really. And I'm just kind of like sitting around you. I might be tanky, but like you take a long time to die. I could probably be peeled off. There's a lot of like badness that goes into it. So my initial thoughts though on the champion, I think he maybe needs some base stat boosts. I think they need to change this little 2 auto attack system. And I also think that I should have the ability to stay in the stance a lot longer. Or maybe switch to 2 instead of having to switch through 3 stances to then reactivate my other one unless I'm sitting basically useless. So that's my thing about it. Design-wise, though, I do think it's a good design. I do think they hit the nail on the head with making you have to shift through stances, have to play fights better. I do like that. I do like that. I don't want them to dumb him down. But I want him to have more incentive to have bonus attack speed. I want him to have more incentive to power form. I want him to have more incentive to like get extremely fed, to be more active in ganking. Because even early when you're fighting, you're still weaker. You're not as strong as you could be if you're 2v2ing or 3v3ing with laners and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's a hard thing to do because Udyr is one of those champs where if you kind of tune him a little bit, he's probably going to break the game. And I do understand that. But I think down to the core mechanic-wise, I think we could change that 2-hit auto system and make it so that I'm able to sit in a stance if I really want to. Although it might be more optimal to swap out if I want to stay in a stance for an extended period of time, I'm not punished for it. I think that'd be huge. But I think the main reason why his win rate is so bad is because the way that you play him isn't as brainless anymore. And so high-level players that play Udyr are probably already used to the fact that you're running around, you know, playing the fights a little bit slower if you're not turbo-fed, and you really do kind of got to walk in and out, and bob and weave. Low-level players, because, and this just happens a lot with any simple champion, like Annie, Master Yi, Garen, blah, 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 blah. All those champions that are just very, very easy to play, when they're played in high elo, they have to play differently because they're not as effective because people actually understand what to do. Udyr was under that category. So a lot of low elo players with Udyr were just used to running at someone, sitting on them, and then just hitting them, and then they die. So this is a slight change for high elo players, but it's a massive change for low elo players. So I think the fact that he's just playing different and he's just weaker early period, and he's like put more to scale, I guess, it's what's making it very hard to play. Again, I think design choice wise, it's amazing. They did a really good job. It's just things need some tweaking to make it feel like old Udyr in a way without actually breaking the game and making them just feel too overpowered. And that's, I think, what Riot's going to do. They just want to have him out first to see what they could do and then buff it up there. But again, Riot, design-wise, he feels like Udyr. He plays like Udyr. It's basically like you updated the champion, and I love it. Just some of these stats. Move him up and down a little bit. Maybe change the passive. I'm just saying, 4 hits would be good. Up the awakening cooldown time, I don't care, but give me 4 hits so I can stay in a stance a lot longer. Swap, hit 2 times, swap, be back into 4. I would like that too. I don't really care. Whatever you plan to do, but you know, that's my thoughts on it. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. This is actually a lot longer video than I thought. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Watch the end. Again, if you guys would like coaching, coachblaker.com is where you want to go. I have 3 services. I have replay review, I have a live game, and then I have an actual coaching session full on. Also, I do coach duos and I coach teams. So, you know, I got something for everybody. If you guys are interested in getting better, as I always say, if you guys are interested in reaching your goals, if you guys want to just not waste so much time playing game after game after game after game, trying to figure out how to improve, because like I said, I see a lot of people just spam League of Legends, and it's like, if you just got 1 session, you probably would climb a lot faster, and you wouldn't be in the situation that you're in. Like, if you feel like that could be you, check out my site, coachblaker.com, and I suggest booking it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace, late. Have a good rest of your day or night, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for doing what? Approaching this like a coach.